Yes, is the screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Malika, you can.
Yes, sir. So, good morning, everyone. So, today I'm going to take charge over the size separation topic. So, introduction part of size separation tell us about its significance. That size reduction of solid materials never gives particle of same size but gives particle of different sizes. These material must be subjected to separation technique to obtain definite size ranges. Now here the size reduction is responsible for just minimizing the actual size of the solid material, but it won't give us the uniform size in one single panel. So we have to make sure that the mixture that we have, just a minute. Sorry for the inconvenience. So we were about that size reduction gives us mixtures of different sizes of solid material. So that mixture we have to subject to the size separation techniques. What are they? We will see it in further slides. So after subjecting to the separation techniques, we would get a definite sizes. There are official standards which differentiates the size of the particles. That too we are going to see. Now main is the definition of size separation, that it is the separation process on the basis of size ranges of the powder particles. Now here the range, it is a separation process. Yes, it is. The particles are separated, are classified based on the size ranges of the powder particles. Now these size ranges, they are classified under coarse powder, moderately coarse powder, moderately fine powder and fine powder. So there are various aperture sizes and sieve number through which through which the particles are um, drained out, or just they are going to brush the particles, and the particles of uniform size we are going to uh, obtain. um, in case of application of size separation, just a minute. Importance or applications of size separation involves in the formulations of aerosols, fine particles, size fine particles size required for the formulation. So in the making of aerosols, we have seen in the PP that we require these aerosols for the respiratory disorders, for the asthma patients. So for that purpose, we have to formulate the drug into very fine particle size, so that when it is administered, it shouldn't create any irritation to the patient, because it is directly taken through the nasal route. Okay. Okay. In the if fine particles are not uh, not taken for the formulations of aerosols, it may also blocks the propellers or any other small devices which are used to make the aerosols. Okay. In the second point says is that in the formulation of dusting powder, fine particles are required, otherwise bigger particles causes irritation. So in the dusting powder, we usually have made the granules preparation. So we are supposed to see its efficacy, its quality, by dispersing it into the water as a water solvent. So if it get dispersed quickly, that means it is having more demand for taking as a dusting or a granule in the form. But if the particle size that we are making, uh, the particle size if we took in making of dusting powder is not uniform, it is in the mixture form, the product or the formulation that we are obtaining from such product will be not beneficial, okay, and it may causes irritation. The third point says in the formulations of suspensions and emulsion, optimum particle size gives better stability. So in case of suspension and emulsion, more prominently term used is cake formation or flocculated suspension. There is the segregation. If the particle size we haven't took optimum particle size, and we have took just mixtures and random particles without any standard, then it may create problems of cake formation. There is the segregation of particles in together, and it may create a unnecessary force of attraction between the particles, and the suspension and emulsion of particular bond, it will be harmful for the consumption. The fourth point says in the formulation of tablets, uniform particle size of granules are required for uniform weight. So tablets are also prescribed for the pediatrics and for the old age persons. So for them particularly we are using dispersion tablets. Okay, in case of dispersion tablets, if the uniform or optimum size of particle is not observed, it may causes the GI problems for the patients. The fifth and the last is for successful extraction, optimum particle size gives maximum extraction. So we have seen in these 5 points uniform size, optimum size. So what actual number is allotted for these terms that we are going to see in the official standards for powder or grinding of powders. So the powders having specified standard for fineness and coarseness are called standard powders. Okay, the grades or a standard of a powder according to Indian Pharmacopoeia 1996 is as follows. So IP have decided a official standard for the powders, and the powder which are having the standard value for it particle size, they are supposed to called as standard powders. Now the official standard which the IP have constructed, they are as follows. First is coarse powder 10 by 40. So this powder, the coarse powder is a kind of powder whose all particles can pass through the sieve number 10, and not more than 40% of powder will pass through sieve number 40. Okay, it was a simple definition. Now in the detailed manner you can also write in this manner that coarse powder is a kind of powder whose all particles passes through the sieve number 10, whose nominal aperture size is 1.7 unimicron meter, and not more than 40% of coarse powder can pass through the sieve number 40, whose nominal aperture size is 355 unimicron meter. Okay, similarly in case of moderately coarse powder whose all particles will pass through sieve number 22, and not more than 40% will pass through sieve number 60. Similarly, in case of moderately fine powder, whose all particles will pass through the sieve number 44, and not more than 40% will pass through the sieve number 85. Just you have to keep in the mind the numbers of sieves and their nominal aperture size. Else all the theory part is same regarding the powders, but the numbers are different, that you have to keep in the mind. Okay, the hint from my side to you all guys regarding the remembering these powders are coarse powder, moderately coarse powder, moderately fine powder, and fine powder is. So can you just look out the first letters of these powders, that is CM, MF and V. Okay, the hint from my side is the CM of Maharashtra is fine in varieties of you can take varieties of subject. Okay, if you didn't like this, you feel discuss about this hint, you can make your also, but I just shared my hint. So its CM of Maharashtra is fine in various varieties of subject. The number are supposed to be kept and should be marked up because any hint would not be fit in these numbers. Okay, then we were about the fine powders. The definition is the fine powder is a kind of powder whose all particles will pass through the sieve number 85 and not more than 40% would pass through the sieve number 120. Very fine powder, a kind of powder whose all particles will pass through sieve number 120 and not more than 40% of particles would not 40% will not pass through sieve number 350. Okay, the subsequent is macro fine powder. A powder of which not less than 90% by weight of particle passes through with nominal aperture size of 45 unimicron meter. In macro fine powder, we are directly taking 90% a major quantity of powder which is supposed to pass through the nominal aperture size 45 unimicron meter. In superfine powder, it is a powder of which not less than 90% by weight of particle passes through with nominal aperture size of 10 unimicron meter. Okay. Now the table is given by the sir, that grades of powder which would be very useful to understand the actual what happened rather than smug upping the definition. This chart says that same definition reflects the same definition, that grades of powders, all particles should pass through sieve number and not more than 40% should pass through sieve number. Okay, you can also add one more column which reflects their nominal aperture size, which would also give you more additional points. Okay, now the conclusion about this is, oh no, the definition of the coarse powder, for an example, they have quoted that it is the powder of all particles of which passes through a number 10 sieve and not more than 40% through a number 44 sieve. This is usually referred to as 10 by 44 powder. Other grades are expressed in similar way. So have elaborated each and every powder definition, which you can also add the nominal aperture size in this format. Okay. Let's move to the methods of size separation analysis. There are two methods. One is mechanical method and one is simple method for size separation analysis. I have found myself in the confusion of methods of size separation analysis and mechanical. So I am emphasizing on these 2 points especially. So methods of size separation analysis are as follows. First is sieving or sifting. Second is fluid classification. There we are going to see the sedimentation tank, which is also known as fluid classification. And second is the continuous sedimentation tank. Third is the cyclone separator and fourth is the illustration. The first is the sieving or sifting method. So the sieves are the simplest and the sieving is the most frequently used method. So it is, I can say it is very commonly used, no doubt, but it is cost effective to get the uniform size. So majorly we are using sieving or sifting method for the classifying or for the separating the particles. Now standards for sieve according to British Pharmacopoeia. Similarly, the standards are set for the sieve to be chosen for the particular product for classifying it. Okay, the first is sieve number. It is the number of meshes in a length of 25.4 millimeter, that is 1 inch, in each direction parallel to the wires. Okay, they are the number of what meshes, that is square, that we have to count in the length of 25.4 millimeter or 1 inch, which runs parallel to the wires. The subsequent is the nominal size aperture. It is nothing but the distance between the two adjacent wire, so that it represents the length of size of square aperture. Okay, it is the distance between what? Two adjacent wire, so that it represents the length of size of square aperture. Okay. Then the subsequent is the nominal diameter of wire. Here the condition have put forth that if we won't maintain the diameter of wire, it may create some complications and we would not get the uniform classifying material of the product. Okay, nominal diameter of wire is the same number of sieves have different diameter of wire, then size of aperture changes. It is not good sign. Okay, so it is necessary to specify diameter of wire for standard sieve or for proper or for sequential classifying of powders. Okay. The subsequent is approximate screening area. This is the standard express the area of mesh as a percentage of total area of sieve. Okay, the total area of sieve is coming under what? Approximate screening area. The subsequent is aperture tolerance average. Okay, in the limit test we have seen that this much impurities is it is allowed by the Indian Pharmacopoeia, that is 1.1 to 0.2%. Likewise here also aperture tolerance average is there. Some variations in aperture size is unavoidable, and this variation is expressed as percentage known as aperture tolerance average, which is 1 to 3%. Okay, 1 to 3% aperture tolerance average is unavoidable. Now materials used for making of sieves. The materials that we are supposed to select for the construction of any size separation instrument, it should be following these properties, that the wire should be uniform, should have circular cross section. Okay, the material should be suitable, should have suitable strength to avoid distortion. Then it should bear sufficient resistance to corrosion. Okay, and we can take metals and non-metals both for the construction of the separation instruments. Now firstly we will go to the metals. In that, first is iron. The iron peculiarity is it is having high strength. It is mostly used metal in pharmaceutical industry. The advantage is that it is cheap, it is cost effective, and it is easily available. But the disadvantage is more prominent as compared to advantage, that it prone to undergo rusting, wet corrosion. Okay, so it and occur readily, and contamination of powder usually undesirable. Okay, because of that the iron is most, I mean, even though it is present in ample form, it is cost effective, it is used in very there are various conditions under which the iron is used. Now coated iron, this is one kind of precautions that to prevent the rusting it had made, but it too has the disadvantage. We will see it. The coated iron, the wire may coated. The galvanizing techniques are there. By use of that, the coating of iron is done. Not only iron, but many other metals are under the galvanization for preventing same rusting, corrosion, and all. The wire may coated so as to give protection from rusting, and it gives strength to the wires. Okay. Advantage is that increase the protection against corrosion, no doubt, and it increases the power, the strength of the metal too. But in case of disadvantage, we can see that coating after manufacture lead to some variation in mesh size as it enhances the thickness of the wire or metal. It may also affect the nominal aperture size. So we have seen in the standards for the sieves that diameter of wire should be checked for not having any complications, so that matters, and for that coated iron is also selectively used. In case of copper, it is a pure metal. Okay, it is too easily available and it avoids the risk of contamination because copper behave as a noble metal when it come under the atmospheric condition, and there is the formation of green platina over the copper which prevents the copper to for undergoing corrosion. This is the point which I have especially searched for the exploring here. The disadvantage is that it is a soft metal and meshes can be distorted easily. Okay, but the stainless steel is more prominently used in the industrial scale because it has the resistance to corrosion as it show the presence of chromium. The chromium binds with the oxygen and form the chromium oxide layer. That layer usually prevents the stainless steel to undergo any type of contamination corrosion. Okay, that is its advantage, and it of course it has the adequate strength. But in case of disadvantage, it is generally expensive. So in the industrial scale, it might be used. Now subsequent is copper and alloys, for example bronze and phosphorus. The advantage is that these are resistant to corrosion as we have seen copper, so they are the alloys of copper, so usually they show the resistance towards the corrosion and has much more strength as compared to aluminium and steel. Okay, and usually they are generally expensive, yes. In case of non-metal, we are going to see the synthetic fibers such as flint and nylon. If you remember, we are using flint or nylon balls in the ball mill as a grinding agent. Okay, in the construction part you may write this advantage too. Okay, in the flint and nylon balls, you may see the corrosion of wire is prevented. It is not produce any toxic or harmful substance during size separation process. It is most important advantage that it doesn't produce any toxic and harmful substance. That means contamination of the product will not occur at any cost. But in disadvantage, materials are expensive, costly. Method. The sieve should be used and stored with care since a sieve is of little value if the meshes become damaged or distorted. Okay, the sieve has value, the sieve has importance because of their precise construction of meshes, lines, aperture. Okay, if any variation is found in any of these three, the standards we have seen earlier, it may decreases the value of the sieve. Okay, with the exception of the use of sieves for granulation, material should never be forced through the sieve. Okay, the particles, if small enough, will pass through a sieve easily if it is shaken, tapped, or brushed. By this sentence, I have got two terms, that positive sized particles and negative sized particles. These positive sized particles are the particles which won't passes through the sieve. It will remain on the surface of sieve. Okay, they are called as overweight particles. And in case of negative particle size or underweight, they are those particles which would easily pass through these sieve meshes by just shaking, tapping, or just brushing it out. Okay, now we are going to see mechanical sieving methods. Okay, they are as follows. First is agitation, which is gentle shaking, which are subdivided into oscillations, vibrations, and gyration. By these three, we can obtain the agitation of the particles. Subsequent is brushing. The size separation is done with the help of a brush so that the particles are not stick to the surface of sieve. These methods are having advantages as well as disadvantages, okay? And the brushing in this method, we are using two kind of brushes, which is differentiated based on its revolving around the axis. One is circular revolving and one is longitudinal revolving. The centrifugal force, the particles which have higher molecular weight are settled downside, while particles having lower molecular weight get separated out from upper side. Okay, centrifugal force acts on the periphery and it throws out the large molecular weight substance towards the periphery, and the small molecular weight substance will get collected at the center or at the upper side. Okay, first is agitation, that is gentle shaking. The sieves may be agitated in number of different ways. First is oscillation, move back and forth. Okay, the sieve is mounted in a frame that oscillating is the force, is the movement that we can say back and forth, which is responsible for the agitation of the sieve. The advantage is that it is a similar.
You can mention the example of pendulum also.
Okay, sir, I will try.
Yeah, pendulum, if you observe, it moves back and forth. If you
Yes.
observe the watch pendulum, yeah.
Okay. So in advantage, you can also add one point that we have seen in the MCQ session, that we can enhance the velocity of particles. That means we can enhances the speed of the oscillation. Okay. In disadvantage, the material may roll on the surface of sieve and fibrous materials tend to bore. If the material show the presence of moisture content, there are the chances of getting the clay formation or the rolling of the substance over the sieve. The subsequent is the vibration. The message is vibrated at high speed, often by an electrical devices. Okay, by means of we can also add few points, that is eccentric devices. The sieves are vibrated at high speed either electrically or mechanically. Rapid vibration is imparted to particles that help the powder to pass through the sieve. You can just elaborate it in your words and you can get the actual what happens in vibration in the point wise. Okay, advantage is that the rapid vibration is imparted to the particles on the sieve and the particles are less likely to bind with mesh. Okay, gyration is the subsequent. A small spinning motion is produced in the gyration method which help to pass the particles through the sieve. Spinning motion is there in the gyration. For example, we can take the flywheel. Okay. All the modes of agitation are not continuous method but can be made by the inclination of the sieve. It is one point which I would like to mention here. If you want to make it continuous method, you may have some adjustment of the sieves in the inclined motion and you may achieve that. Now, second method is the brushing method. A brush can be used to move the particles on the surface of sieve and to keep the mesh clear. The two purposes are there of the brush, that it helps to pass the particles through the sieve and it also keeps the approximate screening area of sieve clear. A single brush across the diameter of any ordinary circular sieve rotating about the midpoint is effective. Okay. In large scale production, a horizontal cylindrical sieve is employed with a spiral brush rotating on longitudinal axis of sieve. A single brush, if we are constructing the diameter, it should be rotating in its circular axis and it is effective In large scale production, it rotates around its horizontal axis spiral brush for effective classifying the solid particles. In the centrifugation method, the equipments are the cyclone separator, air separator. These separators are based on this centrifugal method. It is use a vertical cylindrical sieve with a high speed rotor inside the cylinder, so the particles are thrown outwards by centrifugal force. Also, the particles are classified or separated based on its size and the density. The current of air created by the movement helps in the sieving. Especially, it is useful for very fine powders. So, very fine powders, the standard is, yes, it is 120 by 350. Just, yes, sir.
Yeah. Asking the same question.
So I have given the answer. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So the second most mechanical method is, separation analysis method is fluid classification, where we are going. It is an industrial method of particle size separation based on sedimentation or on illustration. There are two types of sedimentation methods: sedimentation tank and continuous sedimentation tank. In the sedimentation tank, it is the simplest method of size separation. A suspension is taken in a tank and it is allowed to stand for a suitable time. The solid particles are allowed, or we can say the coarse particles are allowed to settle. Solid particles are settled according to their size. Liquid layer is removed out and the size separation is noted. So here you can just imagine that a tank is there, we are pouring the suspension through the inlet and we are allowing the tank to stand for a period of time. Then you can notice that the coarse particle, which has the higher density, more molecular weight, and will settle downward, and fine particles or moderately fine particles will get collected at the upper layer of the tank. The advantage is that it is the simple process. Okay. Disadvantage is also present that it is a batch process only. Okay, continuous supervision is required. It does not give a clean splint of particle size, because some small particles will be near the bottom of tank at the beginning of the process, and so will be removed with the coarse particles. Okay, there are the chances of getting the small particles settled down with the coarse particles, and by the extraction of coarse particles, few moderately fine or fine particles may also get present out there. Okay, it is not gives precise classification of the product size. Now, in the continuous sedimentation tank, the particles are entering into the tank through the inlet in the form of suspension. The particles will acted upon by a force that can be divided into two components. So here you are in the diagram, you are seeing outlet and inlet. So through inlet we are pouring the suspension, which is acted by a force which get splitted by two components into two components. The horizontal component, due to the flow of fluid that carries the particle forward. The water is the source which imparts a force on the suspension, and it get converted to two kinds of force, horizontal and vertical. Horizontal force allow the flow of suspension in forward direction, whereas in the vertical component, due to gravity it happens, which causes the particles to fall towards the bottom of the tank, whereas the coarse particles get collected near the inlet. The coarse particles, due to their higher density and size, get collected near the inlet, and the fine particles will get movement in the forward direction and get collected near outlet. In some tanks, partitions are arranged on the floor, enabling particle size fractions to be collected continuously. So we can also make the partitions in the tank. Such arrangement will give you precise and precise size separated particles. Okay. Now the advantages of continuous sedimentation tank is it is a simple method, it is inexpensive method, it is continuous in operation, it gives a clean separation of particles into many size fractions required. Okay, the next method is the illustration. In the diagram you are seeing a single and a connected three another illustration tubes or tank. In the first you are seeing the inlet is present at downside whereas outlet is present at upper side, and the motion of particle is carried out due to the gravitational force, and the solvent which is used is basically water, and we can get the coarse particles separated near the inlet at the bottom side due to its same reason, large particle size and high density, and moderately fine or fine particles get collected near the outlet by just having a motion in the water on that basis. Okay, the advantages is that the process is continuous, the separation is quicker than compared to sedimentation. When in the diagram you have seen the illustration tank were connected to one another in three pairs. So if we connect in that arrangement parallel, we can get more size separated molecule and more precise size separated molecules. Okay. The disadvantage of illustration tank is the suspension should be dilute, which sometimes can be undesirable. The suspension that we are pouring should be should fulfill the conditions. It should be dilute for the successful separation. The second is the cyclone separator. The principle is based on the centrifugal force. Okay, the diagram you are seeing, the tangentially inlet is present due to which it may create a cyclonic motion inside the separator, which may aid for the separation of molecules easily. So the tangential inlet is provided. The fluid outlet you are seeing where the fine particles get collected. It is a cylindrical vessel with a conical base. At the bottom side, solid outlet is present where you find the coarse particles, and in the fluid outlet, the solvent that we are using in the suspension, it get collected. Okay, in construction, it is a cylindrical vessel with the conical base. The suspension is introduced tangentially at high velocity of air. Generally gas, no inert gas are used so that rotational movement take place with the vessel. Fluid is removed from the outlet situated at the top. The coarse particles get collected at the bottom. And in the working case, the rotatory flow within the cyclone separator is due to the air passes into the chamber, which produces the centrifugal force on particles. The tangential inlet is present, which generate a cyclonic motion, and the centrifugal force get generated, and on behalf of which the particles get separated out. The solid thrown outside the walls and then falling to the conical base. We are finding near conical base coarse particles, whereas the fluid in the suspension get collected near the fluid outlet. The cyclone separator can be used with this liquid suspension of solid, but most common application is solid with gas. Sorry for the disturbance. Application is solid with gas, usually air. In the air, especially we are using inert gases. Okay. Hope you understood my language and my speed, and thank you for the cooperation. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, very good. Whatever the mnemonics you have given to us, yes, it's very easy to remembering the mnemonics regarding the grades of the powders.
Sir, I have also
Then second,
constructed the mnemonic for the numbers also, but it is very confusing, so I haven't explored here. But whenever I would get a chance, I would also tell that too. But because it is lengthy and much confusing, so I haven't told that.
yes, you can prepare such mnemonics, easy mnemonics, not for every chapter, okay, but those having the importance regarding the classification aspects, yes, you can definitely generate the mnemonics for the same. Okay, yeah, and second thing, I think you explained the illustration call. So particle size, okay, particles are moved with the help of gravitational force or against the gravitational force.
Against the gravitational force.
Had you mentioned?
No, sir, just I have explained based on the diagram as it was 56, time was 56 minutes.
Remember, if it's against the gravitational force, because these aspects are very much in the importance in case of GPAT type of examinations aspects. Okay, so remember such aspects and include that. Okay, and try to give the examples whenever you explain the equipments or the processes like oscillation, like vibration, okay, gyration. Yeah, you mentioned the spinning of wheel and all. Okay, but in case of oscillation, try to give the simplest example so that it can be easily understandable to others. Okay.
Yes, sir, I would keep in the mind. Thank you.
Efforts are highly appreciated. Okay, then very good. With this, I'll stop the session over here. You can leave the session. Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you, sir.